Hey, I'm Max, and I'm trying my best. Downtown is a show that deserved so much better. If you don't know, Downtown was a show produced by MTV that aired in 1999 until 2000. It consists of one season with 13 episodes about the lives of a group of young adults from New York through the main character, Alex. It's like a sitcom of reality and one of my all-time favorite shows. No exaggeration. And in this video, I decided to draw Jen, Alex's best friend and my favorite character from the show. The creator's name is Chris, Prynoski? I am so sorry if I'm mispronouncing any names in this video. And produced by David McGrath. Two people I have immense respect for creating such a timeless masterpiece. If any of you are familiar with the show, you might know Serena, the quote-unquote emo chick, which is, I think, the most popular character from the show, which is justified. I would be lying if I said I haven't taken style inspiration from her or wanted to be her at some point whilst I was watching the show. This show is pretty much like those romance animes that only have one season that ends on a cliffhanger and just never got renewed for a second one, so it's kind of just there. And you just feel a small hole in your heart that will just simply never be filled. Unfortunately, Downtown did end up getting canceled, and for literally no reason. The only thing that frustrates me about this show was its unjust cancellation. Even the creator, Chris Prynoski, stated that he is not sure why MTV, quote, pulled the plug so soon, even though it literally received a primetime Emmy nomination. It wasn't just a gold star, a sticker, or a pat on the back. It was an entire nomination. And people dare to say that there is justice. This genuinely saddens my little gremlin spirit because we're in a current state of media where it feels like we only keep getting sequels, prequels, reboots, and spin-offs, especially for mediocre movies or shows, while shows like Downtown, with actual work and artistry put into it, get dumped. Compared to what we get now, Downtown is like a basket of Olive Garden breadsticks next to a bag of Wonder Bread. Sure, both are digestible, but one far exceeds the other. I mean, come on, Moana 2, Frozen 3, Mufasa, Mean Girls the Musical,
and I watched the snake eat a cow.
John Wick, The Continental, Beetlejuice, the sequel to Joker, which I won't even bother pronouncing because it's French, Smile 2, Emily in Paris Season 4, Squid Game 2, and this is only a franchise I have seen before and know of. Like, do we not have artistic licenses anymore? Not in the literal sense, but also maybe in the literal sense. And this is not me trying to come at anybody or be mean. I'm just like saying, why can't we be a little more original, guys? Why can't we just get along? Hell, we're even getting a Shrek 5. Although, I will defend anything Shrek related, but everything else is out of the question. And to be fair, not all of them are bad, but the repetition still stands. So honestly, Gumball said it best. When you lock two writers in a room, you're bound to repeat things eventually. Okay, side rant aside, I highly recommend Downtown to anybody who is not a child, that is, not under the age of like 15, 16. Okay, I shouldn't be here like trying to age rate this thing. Anybody who's not a child, let's leave it at that. Anybody who's not a child, it's not PG, so also maybe don't watch it around others. It can have some awkward scenes. Although it does have crude humor, it balances the other themes it explores. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's also not a complete, like, clown circus, doofus, tomfoolery. You get what I mean. It explores relationships, friendships, people's flaws, and just trying to figure out a way to navigate life or adult life. It has humor, but layers of realness. Serena is the love interest of Alex, and literally every other dude in the show. She's beautiful and unique, and she dresses in an emo or goth style. And please don't slander me for using the word goth. I know it's a gay-kept word and often misinterpreted, but these are the words of the producers. Goth can mean a lot of things. Please stay off my back. I'm sorry. Okay. She has hobbies like making jewelry and writing poetry, but has a dating history of, well, very flawed men. She always goes after guys who are jerks, and although she's tired of this, she doesn't seem to stop and doesn't pay much attention to when an actual quote-unquote nice guy is around. Then there's Alex, the main character, who I have to walk on eggshells a little bit for the description. He's a stereotypical nerd, but more realistic. Not like the, actually kind. He's not very popular, lives alone, and wants to have a girlfriend and a better job, but his lack of confidence and shyness prevent him from that, as well as his type of women. He has crushes on women who are, for lack of a better term, out of his league. He fumbled badly, though. He was this close to getting Serena, but because his view on women is pretty shallow, he dropped the ball. Hard. Like, there was a ball, and he dropped it. He even admitted it himself. He only liked Serena because she had this wild vibe and is goth. And I think at some point she too ended up feeling something for Alex, but when she put him to the test, I guess, and changed herself to a more natural look, all of a sudden he wasn't so hubba hubba anymore. That and the fact that he stood her up at the Halloween parade event. I don't know if you can really consider it a test. It's hard to describe unless you watch the episode, but after they end up talking at this graveyard, after he took photos of her, they have this, like, cutesy little conversation heart to heart, and it's all like, oh my gosh, so cute. And then Alex goes on and says, like, oh, I don't care how somebody dresses or something like that. Yada yada. It's like, okay, I don't know the episode off the top of my head. It's been a while since I watched it. It's something like that. He's like, oh, I don't care how people look, da-da-da-da. And then the next day she shows up and she's dressed like a normal girl. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, but you're going to go back to being goth, right? You're going to go back to black. Yeah, and then she kind of realizes that he's not it either. It's something like that. It's something like that. For the record, that little segment was not scripted. So just laying that out there. Despite Alex's self-awareness, he doesn't do anything, and he really can't, because afterwards she just moves on to the next guy. So then there's Jen, my favorite. She's Alex's best friend, who is also much like Alex, not conventionally attractive and not very popular. She has a self-deprecating sense of humor and refuses to try shooting her shot or, get out there or whatever. Seriously, though, I can't stand when people say that. Though on the inside, Jen just wants love and acceptance. She knows she isn't most people's dream girl. And honestly, Jen, I get it. But if Jen was real, I would be a fan. Okay? I would want to be friends with her. I don't know. There's just something about her. She's obviously not a girly girl. She dresses, like, very baggy and often spews out her opinions and criticism, especially on relationships, even though she hasn't had a successful one herself. A big part of her character is, her body image or body image issues. There's a specific episode where her and her roommate go to, like, this party thing, but Jen doesn't have a dress, and she ends up wearing, like, this referee dress, and it's funny, but it's also sad because I know for a fact that compared to everybody else in that room, she did not feel pretty, and I feel for her. I won't go into every single character for the sake of time, but these are like the main three, the cream of the Oreo, at least for me. But the entire group consists of Alex, Jen, Serena, Chaka, Mecca, Fruity, Chris, and Goat. What I will say, though, is that each character is distinct from the other. They get to be in the spotlight without having to be overly pushed into it. Now, I could sit here and yap about the triangle between Alex, Jen, and Serena, more specifically Alex and Jen, but to sum it down, or up, I am 100% of the opinion that Alex and Jen have a thing for each other that they won't admit to. Episode 8 is where it happens. The one with the limousine. I think Alex and Jen are meant for each other. Like, genuinely two pieces of the same puzzle. But because of Alex's unrealistic and kinda immature nature with women, and Jen's pessimism and lack of confidence, they simply stand in the way of that. I mean, they literally almost kissed. It wasn't some type of, oh, oopsies, how did that happen? No, like, they were getting into it. They have chemistry, and their flaws are an obstacle, but honestly, that's why I love it so much. It's realistic. This feels like an actual love story. It's bitter, but it's also sweet. It's not just, oh, you're hot and I'm hot, let's make out. Not to mention the fact that Jen does not like Serena, or more like the idea of Alex with Serena. She literally stalks her in the episode, The Date. Okay, quick sidetrack. During this drawing process, I ended up going back to it a lot, and when I finished it, I decided I wanted to add more, so I added some small finishing touches, which is why there's a lot of bigger jump cuts. I don't know if it's obvious, but I'm still learning, y'all. The digital art process is very different from the traditional one. Wow, obviously, who knew? But just know that if you see me tweaking while drawing this. Okay, back on track. Speaking of drawing, another thing I love about Downtown is the art style. It's unique and it looks like it was drawn by an actual human. It definitely has a nostalgic vibe, and I feel like it could be something that would have been aired on Adult Swim. The voice acting is truly the icing on the cake, though. The voice acting genuinely feels like you're listening to a conversation between a group of friends outside, or I guess eavesdropping. It feels natural. It's kind of hard to describe. It's almost like the words are clouds. And mind you, the voice actors aren't even professional. Like, this was literally just a one-time thing for them. At least to my knowledge. As I can't seem to find anything else that they partook in. Or did. Or voice acted in. I did end up seeing 2 comments on the episode Insomnia about the voice actors for Chaka and Goat passing away. Oh, I'm probably gonna butcher their names. Leora Zuberman and Scott B. Reinecker. I apologies if I mispronounced them. It is not intentional. And I looked it up, and it seems to be true. It's really unfortunate. So I bring it up to pay an homage to them. Both of them had an incredible potential for voice acting, and they brought 2 iconic characters to life. So rest in peace to both. I also just realized that I've been stuttering a lot. I apologize. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say to that, but okay, moving on. I find myself wondering a lot about how much this show could have done, from exploring the relationship between Jen and Alex to getting to know Serena's backstory more, or just her as a character overall, to even that one scary looking dude at Starbase where Serena works. If anybody is a fan of Downtown, there's actually a channel by the name of, here we go again, NYC, who has a lot of videos on Downtown, like iceberg videos, behind the scenes, or just outside the show media. And all 13 episodes of Downtown are available on YouTube for free, all posted by this kind person right here. If anybody wants to watch it, I know that I'll definitely be rewatching it at some point, just letting myself get submerged in it again. I was thinking of making a more in-depth analysis of this show after releasing this video, like talking about all 13 episodes, all the main characters, and give my own 2 cents. But because I'm still trying to figure out an upload schedule, it might be a long time coming. I promise I like doing this. I'm just trying to learn how to arrange all my eggs in my basket right now. In conclusion, Downtown was a show adored by everybody. I guess just not enough by MTV. Well, I'm going to leave it here. My final piece isn't the most breathtaking, but any experience is good experience, and like many artists before me have said, make ugly art. So go and make some ugly art today, and until next time, I'll be in the toolbox.